How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And I know usually today it will be a Western Wednesday, but as I said, during Christmas, I'm taking the break for a week and a half to 2 weeks. But I did say I would come back with another Q&A video. So I do have a couple of questions. But just before I get into that, I just want to hope you all had a really good Christmas day and that you're really enjoying the holiday season period. I always like this time because you're relaxing for the most part, just kind of I always say a time to recharge the batteries, and it's always a unique time because days kind of just blend into themselves at this time of the year, where it could be a Saturday or it could be a Tuesday. Usually there's a distinct feel about certain days, but over the Christmas period, it's just all meshed, just all one almost. It could be any day. There's no distinct feel about it. But with that, I will start getting into the questions. So we have a couple of questions, and I will start with the patron questions. Um, so the first one is from JM63, and he asks, "How often do you think about the Roman Empire? Just found out about the meme." Um, to be honest, when I read this question, I had no idea what you were talking about, so I had to look up, obviously, the context behind it. And to be honest, no, I don't really tend to think about the Roman Empire at all. Maybe when I used to watch the TV show Rome, about 10 or 11 years ago. Really good show, actually. I would recommend if you haven't watched it. But around then, but usually when I think about like Italian history or culture, aside from like football, because I love Italian football, it's usually the Renaissance that I would think of every so often. I always liked studying that in history. So obviously Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and all the great artists of that period. But in terms of the Roman Empire, no, not so much. So I guess I'm contradiction of the theory, maybe. But again, I'm just one guy. So, but no, to answer your question, I don't really tend to think about it that much. Um, so yeah. But thanks for the question. The next one is from Mary G, and she asks, top three favorite John Wayne westerns, top three favorite Clint Eastwood westerns. Hmm, it's a great question. I love these kind of ranking questions. I'll start with John Wayne. Top three. Okay, well, the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is definitely in there. That's going to be number one. That's like one of my all-time favorite westerns. Full stop. I think one of John Wayne's best performances. Jimmy Stewart, who I love, is brilliant in it, and Lee Marvin's character as Liberty. He's one of the best villains I've ever seen in the western. There's so many great moments, like that scene in the kind of that diner area where is it Tom is the name of the character John plays John Wayne, where he comes in with about the stakes, and there's that square off, Joe, you pick it up, Liberty. And then Jimmy Stewart tries to defuse the whole situation. That's so tense. Then how they flipped the ending as well, just how it went with, you realize that actually it was Wayne's character that actually did it, but they made it look like it was Jimmy Stewart's character. And then one of the greatest lines in film history, when the legend becomes fact, print the legend. There's so much about that film that I loved. I'm going to throw Fort Apache in there. I thought that was an excellent film. I thought the contrast between Wayne's character and Henry Fonda's character. I always felt Fonda's character was kind of staying rooted in the past, and Wayne's character was a bit more forward thinking, kind of reaching towards the future, and it was that power struggle between the two. I thought that was an excellent film. The third one, then, I mean, there's a few contenders. Like I thought The Shootist was a brilliant film. I loved the whole concept of aging with that. Um, Maybe I'd give it to Red River. I thought that was a brilliant film. Bar the ending. I thought the ending was a little bit of a cop out. That was the one minor criticism I had. But I thought John Wayne was brilliant in that he had an edge to him, kind of similar to the Searchers a bit. Even though he was a hero, there was villainous traits in him, and there was some very powerful moments and great performances in it as well. So I'd probably go Red River. So probably the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Fort Apache, and Red River would probably be the top three. But Shooters to be an honorable mention, as would She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, which I actually think is Wayne's best performance. If I was going on performances, I'd have probably She Wore a Yellow Ribbon as number one. But in terms of favorite films, that westerns that he was in, I think I go with those three. Then for Clint Eastwood, that's tough. Um, well, I'm going to throw Unforgiven in because Unforgiven is top two, three favorite westerns of all time. Tremendous film. Just how it changed everything, flipped the genre on its head. Um, Absolutely fantastic film. One of the things where there's no real good guy in it. It's just shades of grey. Tremendous film. I'm going to put For a Few Dollars More in there. I think that was the peak of Leone's spaghetti westerns. I enjoyed that one the most, even though I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly had the best sequence with that graveyard cemetery scene. That was amazing. But as a film on the whole, I loved For a Few Dollars More. I thought that was so good. I loved the chemistry and the kind of teamwork between Eastwood's character and Lee Van Cleef's character. So I thought that was excellent. And another tremendous soundtrack on that one as well. And the third one, I think I'm going to go with the most recent one I saw, which was Pale Rider. I know there was similarities between that and High Plains Drifter, but I enjoyed Pale Rider more. I loved the idea. It's so different. But I love the idea that they don't flat out say he's a ghost. It's just suggested. Um, I loved the setting as well, and just yeah, great flow to it as well. I just thought it was an excellent film. So I think I would go with those three. Now, bear in mind, there's still some Eastwood and John Wayne westerns I haven't seen yet. So this is just going on obviously what I've seen. But yeah, for Eastwood it'd be Unforgiven, For a Few Dollars More, and Pale Rider. So the next question is from MJB, and he asks, "What is the most disappointing film you've watched on the channel, and do you react to TV shows?" So I'll answer the second question first. Yeah, yes, I do. I do react to TV shows. So Gunsmoke, I'm a little bit into the first season. Now, most of the reactions are primarily on the Patreon page. They're exclusive to Patreon, but I do throw up the odd episode on the channel on YouTube as well. But if you want to catch like the whole series of reactions, it is exclusive to the Patreon page. But I am planning to start in the new year watching the original Star Trek series. I had a little community post up about a week or two ago, so I am planning to watch that, and that will be on the channel. So that's coming up in the new year. And in regards to your second question, what is the most disappointing film I watched on the channel? So obviously you're going on disappointing rather than worst, because if it was worst, it would be Leprechaun, which I thought was a pile of crap. um, but if it was going most disappointing, I think Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid has got to get the nod. Just because when I was starting up the channel and I was going through westerns, greatest westerns and what wants to watch, this was always mentioned like top 10, top 5, this incredible film. And I thought I was so underwhelmed by it. Like I couldn't believe like this was mentioned all the time on Best Westerns, and like I never saw like the Big Country mentioned, or the Gunfighter mentioned, or um even some of Fort Apache I never really saw mentioned. So there were certain westerns that I absolutely loved that weren't mentioned at all, and then this was seen as one of the top 5 greatest of all time, and I just thought it was very substandard and not a great film at all. So I think Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid would definitely get my nod for most disappointing, because I was expecting so much from it. I thought it was a real letdown. Although I will say, as I said in the reaction, I think that it definitely inspired the buddy cop film with Lethal Weapon and those kind of films. So I will give it credit for that. But yeah, I very very underwhelmed by it. Um, all right, next question is from, bear with me now, treefeathers, who asks, "I'd like to know about why you like westerns so much and how you got started with that as a theme for the channel. Have you ever been to the American West or plan to visit? Also, I watched a video you posted about a while back, a short horror film you made. It was pretty cool. Thank you. Thanks very much. And can you tell us more about your background as a filmmaker and actor, and are you still doing any of that?" So just to the westerns first. As I said, I think, like I've said, probably said before, I really enjoyed watching reaction videos. As I said, since a child, I always loved watching my favorite films with other people, just to kind of garner their reaction. It made it more exciting returning to the films I loved with someone who hadn't seen it before. And then as I got older, YouTuber and all that, people started doing reactions. I think it started with Stranger Things. I watched reactions to that, and I loved it. And I thought, oh, this is just made for me. So for a few years, I was watching that, and then just I don't know, for whatever one day just came to me, I should start doing that, like, because I love movies, I love reactions. Try it out, and then I realized that like the westerns was a genre that I'd seen nothing of. So there was so much to go through. I always was interested in it. Like I'd seen, as I said, clips here and there. I probably saw one or two films when I was very young. And I like the setting. I like a non-contemporary setting a lot of time in films. It just kind of reels you in. So I also thought they looked interesting, and I thought like there's so many films here. There's like like John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, these like massive figures who have seen barely anything of their work. I thought it was a great area to go into as a platform and kind of like the central focus of the channel. And I know I've branched out and watched films from other genres as well, but westerns always remains at the forefront of it. And I guess that's why. I guess because it was a genre I hadn't explored, but I thought I was interested to check out, and combining that with reactions, which I wanted to start doing. So that's kind of why I went with westerns. I've never been to the West. I've been to the States, but never there. Like I'd love to go to Arizona and like Texas and places like that. I definitely would love to visit some like Monument Valley, like places like that. I would love to visit. They look so cool, incredible locations. So it's definitely on my bucket list of places I would like to go to, definitely in the future. And then you mentioned about the filmmaking, and thanks again for the kind words about the short film. Um, yeah, like I did some work like on as a background actor as well on a few TV shows, but I haven't done any much recently. I did do a play back in October. That was the most recent thing I've done. Um, I do hope to do more short films, and I've often done comedy sketches in the past as well. But at the moment, I'm kind of writing. I'm waiting on a play that I directed last year, but they've expanded it, so I'm waiting to hear back on that. I want to start getting back working on that as well. But at the moment, it's more so writing, which is for theatre. So I primarily would have worked in theatre as well. Film not as much. Um, Probably just it's easier to in some ways to get into as well. I have a degree in theatre, so that's obviously helped as well. So yeah, I've done a few kind of short films, and but in terms of writing, it's been mainly theatre related stuff. I have a lot of unfinished scripts which I need to get into, including a western that I started a few months ago. But it's been mainly theatre work that I have done. But I would definitely love to do more short films. Um, so I guess we'll just see what happens in the future. Next question then is from now from Deborah Cornell 171. She says, "Here are my questions for the Q&A. You mentioned before that you've been to the US. I'm wondering how much time you spent here, a short vacation, or was it a longer amount of time, like visiting family or working or attending school here? And what part of the country or how much of it did you get to see? Hopefully you ran into some nice people while you were here. As always, much love and appreciation from Kentucky." Thanks very much. I haven't been to Kentucky, but that's definitely one I would love to visit. Would love to visit there. So it was for college. I was studying. It was when I was doing my theater course, and I actually took a lot of classes that were outside of theater, which one of my lecturers said I could do. He said that was fine. So I got to study. I got to do a film class, which was really cool. We studied Blade Runner, a lot of sci-fi shows. I did a writing module as well. It was two other classes I'm trying to remember. Oh, I also did one we studied for the. It was like an anniversary of the Frankenstein novel. So I remember we studied that, but we also part of the curriculum we studied some of an episode of Star Trek, Measure of a Man, where I don't know if anyone's seen that, where they try Data is put on trial on whether he's sentient or not. So I was like, I love Frankenstein. I love horrors in general, but I also love Star Trek. So that was a really fun class. So that was in Erie, Pennsylvania. The amount of snow I saw there, never seen so much snow in my life. I've probably seen like heavy snow maybe 5 times in my life before I'd been over there, but saw so much of it over there. While I was in Erie, Pennsylvania, then I got cast in a play, which was a lot of fun. But I visited around. I was off for like a week over Easter, so I went to Miami. I went to tennis, the Miami Masters, which was really cool. Miami was beautiful. It felt like I was in an episode of Miami Vice. It was kind of one of those things where you you picture something in your head, and usually it doesn't turn out like exactly as you pictured it. But Miami was like that. I think I went to Chicago and I was in Buffalo as well. Um, but a good few years before I went over to study, I was also in I knew a friend from Troy, New York. I visited her a couple of times. In terms of the people, always been so nice. Like 99.9% of the people I've dealt with in America have been really friendly, really welcoming, really polite, just really nice. I know it's kind of known they like the Irish in general, but yeah, like I have nothing but good things to say about the Americans. They were always really good to me, always very friendly and polite. So yeah, they were really, really nice. And yeah, I loved my time over there. Like, I'd love to go back. I definitely intend to go back over again. Um, as I said, Kentucky, I'd love to go to. Texas, Arizona, Colorado. I'd like to go to LA as well. Um, yeah, just a lot of those places I would like to go. Like, and America is a beautiful country. Like, there's a lot of beautiful locations uh, that just are incredible. You know, it is a really beautiful country, and I definitely want to go back and visit her again. And then I believe one more final question from Blaze, who asks, "Have you considered some classic samurai films, particularly the work of Arakiri Kurosawa? He was a huge influence on Sergio Leone, and his movie A Fistful of Dollars was essentially a remake of Yojimbo. Highly recommended. Also, Harakiri, I hope I'm not butchering these names, by Masaki Kobayashi is simply incredible. Also, maybe some classic Jackie Chan martial arts movies. He was massively influenced by Buster Keaton. Well, that actually would be really cool because I've started watching some of Keaton's films, so I think when I get through a bit more Keaton, it would be cool to go into Jackie Chan and kind of see where maybe some of the influence that he took from Buster Keaton. And yeah, I definitely do intend to watch some of the samurai films as well. I mean, you kind of owe it to it when you've watched the Leone films, like, you know, a lot Fistful of Dolls was a lot of fun. So yeah, I definitely do intend to watch them at some point on the channel. Um, but yeah, that's actually really cool, actually, to visit some of Jackie Chan after seeing Buster Keaton and seeing the parallels and the influence. That would be a lot of cool. Because I'd say a lot of people maybe might have gone the other way. Kind of younger people, you know, maybe kind of grew up with Jackie Chan and then learned, oh, he was influenced by Keaton. I better check out some of his stuff. But I'll try and go the other way, Keaton and into Jackie Chan. But that is all the questions, guys. Thank you so much for sending them in. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the Q&A, you can put a comment in if you want me to do another one in a couple of months. It's fun, like just it's another way to engage with you, you know, talk to you and just have a chat. I think like at some point I'll try and do maybe a live stream, maybe some kind of watch along if I can figure it out. I'm still not very tech savvy. I will admit it took me a while to get this going to set it up at the channel in the first place, but getting a little better, I hope. But anyway, guys, again, thanks so much for sending the questions, and just again, happy Christmas and happy New Year. Hope you have a good time over the holidays. But until next time, slán go fóill.